Hi, fourth grade. Today I'm going to remind you how we learned how to round using our strategy of wimpy numbers and hefty numbers. So today we have two examples, and in both examples you can see we're going to use the same number, but each example we're going to round to a different spot. In our top example, we're going to round to the nearest 100,000 place, and then in our bottom number, we're going to round to the nearest 1,000. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that we learned is when we're rounding, need to figure out where we are rounding to. We need to find that place value spot. So in our first example, rounding to the 100,000s, we know that in this number, 271,009, that the 2 is in our 100,000 spot. So we underline that. The next step is to find the bottom benchmark and our top benchmark. To find our bottom benchmark, we're going to rewrite the number that we underlined and then count how many zeros we need to add at the end of the number. In this case, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So we'll put those into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To find our top benchmark, we're going to look at our underlying number again, and this time we're going to add 1 to that underlying number. So 2 plus 1 would equal 3. Once again, we figure out that we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, so we'll place those in also. The third step now is to look at the number that we want to round and look at the friend that's behind it. This happens to be a 7. 7, if we're looking back at our chart, is what we consider a hefty number. Hefty numbers lift things up because they are super strong. So in between our two benchmarks, we're going to draw our arrow to lift things up. By drawing that arrow, we have also found what we will round 271,009 up to. We'll circle that answer. If we are rounding 271,009 to the nearest 100,000, we would round that up to 300,000. In our second example, we're going to use the same number again, but this time instead of rounding to the 100,000, this time we're going to round to the nearest 1,000. Well, step 1 remains the same. We still need to figure out which number is in the thousands column. Well, counting from our place value, we see our ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. We're going to underline that number. We're still going to continue to do the same steps that we did up above, but this time we're going to add one small new step. So let's rewrite our number that we underlined, and then once again, let's figure out how many zeros we need to add to the right. In this case, we need 1, 2, 3 zeros. But here's our new step. Don't forget, this time we have to take that remaining 2 and 7, and we're still going to add that up to the front of our number. So our first benchmark is going to be 271,000. Now we have to find our top benchmark. Well, we're going to do the same thing that we did up here, where we look at our underlying number and add 1. So 1 plus 1 would equal 2. How many zeros do I need to place behind it? Oh, this time again, we need to add 3 zeros to the end of that. And then don't forget to add our 2 and our 7 to the front of that number. We've now found our two benchmarks. We found where 271,009 comes in between. Well, now we're going to look at our 1 that we underlined. This is the number we want to round. And we're going to look back at its friend, 0, and we're going to figure out, is 0 wimpy or a 0 hefty? Well, we can see wimpy or 0 is in the wimpy column. So we know that wimpy things are not strong and they cannot pick things up. So they put things down. Once again, we're going to come in between our two benchmarks and we're going to draw a down arrow, which is pointing to our answer of 271,000. If we are going to round the number 271,009 to the nearest thousand, we would round that down to 271,000. Feel free to view this video as many times as you would like, and happy rounding!